Hey, this is Matt Green. Welcome to our first event of our new Real Insights Live video cast. And we're very excited to have our first guest today, Rookie of the Year, Rosie Bayne. And as we prepare to share with you a little bit about her history and her background, in doing so, I want to just share with you a few things. First of all, if you are joining us live on Facebook, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. You can feel free to make comments and ask questions in the below. We'll do our best to get to those questions. About every 2 weeks, we'll be interviewing successful real estate agents in the area and talking about, in some cases, market trends or other issues that just generally impact our industry. In 2 weeks, we have a really great panel, including Joe Pearson from our Draper office. He and I and a couple other panelists will be talking about the first quarter market statistics and sharing with you the market review. So we're looking forward to that. Let's see. Oh, Rosie, I think we're just going live now. So anyways, first of all, welcome. Thank you everyone for joining us on our first Facebook Live event of Real Insights Live. We're super excited about our initial guest today, Rosie Bayne, who was Rookie of the Year. A little more about Rosie here in just a minute. We're going to be doing these events about every 2 weeks. So we'd love for you, if you are not already friends with us on the KW Region webpage or Facebook page, you can like us and follow us at facebook.com/KW Utah. You can also get updates from me on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Matt Green Utah. I'd love to have you follow and join along in the conversation. In about 2 weeks, we're having a really fantastic guest panel, including Joe Pearson from our Draper office. He and I will be going over the first quarter market statistics. So if you've ever been to one of my market classes and seen our market trends report, the reports that we provide for our Keller Williams agents here in the state of Utah, we will be reviewing those statistics for Salt Lake and Utah County and discussing just generally kind of what the trends are currently and really what the data is showing us for the first 3 months of 2017. So please make sure to follow along. Again, that will be Thursday the 27th at noon, and should be a great event. Today, as we jump into our conversation with Rosie, please feel free to ask questions and comments. Be sure to send us a lot of love. We always appreciate the hearts coming across on the screen, so appreciate that, and look forward to the engagement and the conversation. So without further ado, super excited to introduce Rosie Bayne. Rosie Bayne was our 2016 Rookie of the Year in our Salt Lake Keller Williams office. Her first full year of real estate, she sold about 16 transactions, equating for about $3.7 million in volume sold, which generated about $115,000 in commissions. Rosie, welcome to the show. Just a big smile from Rosie. Rosie, you're live.
Hi.
Glad to have you on. Thank you. I told you we were going to do something a little fun, and we agreed to start out with your favorite meme. So I've got the favorite meme being shared. Why is this your favorite meme?
Because it's definitely a day in my life. Like 1 minute I'm excited, the next minute like, oh, I screwed up. I think I'm going bankrupt. I always think that, by the way. So it's just, you know, that lovely roller coaster that we ride.
It can be, right? That's certainly the ups and downs, emotional ups and downs of real estate can be pretty challenging. And certainly for someone that's new to the business, it can be super challenging.
Yeah,
awesome.
I found this meme early in my career, and it like literally changed my career because I thought I was like blowing it. Like, I'm like, well, is this how I'm supposed to feel? And then I saw this meme, and I'm like, okay, I can do this.
So you thought, what's wrong with me? Why are these up and downs going? And what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, and then when I found out it was normal, I was like, okay, yeah, well, if it's normal, then yeah, I'll keep doing it.
You know, I think that you're right. It is normal. And the goal is to take that normalcy. I make up words sometimes, Rosie, so just bear with me.
Oh, me too.
But to get rid of those ebbs and flows, right? To really add structure to our business and treat the business differently so that we're not part of the average and really create that consistent, predictable income.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
Goals.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. And of course, as one of our Salt Lake agents, all of our Salt Lake agents, of course, have the highest per capita of tattoos per office of all of our Keller Williams offices. And I know you have some great ones. So what's your favorite tattoo?
So I have a tattoo for my grandfather. I'm very close. I was really close with him, and it's just a heart with an anchor and his name Poppy on it. And it's just, I don't know. It was my first tattoo, and it's my most favorite.
That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, thanks for playing along. So give us just a little bit of background. So, what was your career path to real estate?
Well, I got a degree in communications and marketing from the U, and I was working full-time as a server doing that, and I was making pretty good money. And I graduated, and, the whole corporate 9 to 5, you work this hard and you make this much, or if I make this hard and work this hard and still make that much, didn't sound like fun. So I, always flirted with the idea about getting into real estate, and I was always one of the top producers at my restaurant. So I was like, well, like selling a burger is like selling a house, right? Like it's going to be an easy transition. I can totally do this. So yeah, that's how I got into real estate.
I'm gonna put that quote in my office. Selling a burger is like selling a house, isn't it? It's kind of the same. Yeah. Awesome. So you joined Keller Williams straight out of the gate. And were there any other attributes that you had personally that you felt like would just really transition easy into real estate? And as you did that, what were some of your ahas or experiences relative to maybe finding out things you didn't know? Like what was challenging, or what were some of your greatest challenges that were like, wow, I didn't expect that?
Oh, I didn't expect that it was going to be so hard, like mentally hard. Like I've had hard jobs where, I would work a 7-hour shift at my serving job and I'd be lucky to pee once. Like that's hard. But real estate, it's a whole different playing field. Like the commission only part was probably the hardest part to transition into, because I was used to, showing up to work, working hard and getting paid. But in real estate, that doesn't happen. It usually shows up 90 days later or sometimes longer. So that was probably the hardest part, transitioning into real estate. And then back to your first question about some of my personal attributes, I really think my personality helps me a lot. I know people are like, really, your personality? But I don't know. People like me and they trust me, and I'm a really good communicator, and it worked for me.
I would agree with that. I like you. Everyone that I know likes you. You're super fun. You definitely have that personality. But that can only really get you so far. At some point, you can connect with people and they can like you, but ultimately they have to trust you and you have to be good at what you do. I mean, you have to really become professional. So did you find that at all as you got into the business? I mean, you'd connect with someone personally, but, was there an element that you were like, okay, I've really got to develop my skill sets?
Well, like at the beginning, like you said, it only gets you so far. And I think you need to have the confidence to back up your knowledge. And so when you're brand new, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know how much your home's worth. Like you had to overcome that, like, I don't know anything. And I didn't like that I didn't know anything. So I made a point to learn as much as I could. So if I was in that situation where, hey, Rosie, I met you at the grocery store, you list my house, I feel like I have the skill set to be like, yeah, it's going to be $300,000 and we can list it on a Wednesday, ground open house on a Saturday. Like that's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to be, where I felt confident, like elevator speech kind of.
Yeah, so getting confident to know the market and be able to engage those people in those first dialogues. So what were some of the steps that you took, do you feel, that had the greatest impact on you getting to that level of professionalism? And really, I mean, we talk about this frequently in the industry, that the education that you get from the state for licensing, you know, helps you get your license, but it really doesn't help you succeed in the business. And we all know the statistics are just, are dramatic about, you know, some 80 to 85% of all newly licensed agents are out of the business within the first 2 to 3 years because they can't figure out the success, formula. So what were the things that you did specifically that kind of led you to having the success that you've had?
I showed up. I showed up to the office Monday through Friday. I did open houses. I think I'm one of 2, maybe 3 people that graduated from Ignite. I was not afraid to ask questions. I did Bold twice. I got a mentor that really took me under his wing and showed me the ropes, and I wasn't afraid to be vulnerable. I wasn't afraid to be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please help me?
Wow, those are all awesome. Anything else?
No, I think I just showed up. Like my Hail Mary.
I mean, it's amazing to me, how many people, that's half the battle, is being present and showing up in the office every day, treating it like a job. I think a lot of times people look at real estate as an opportunity to get more freedom in their life, which it absolutely has the power to do that, right? But you've got to earn that opportunity to have that level of freedom. And your first handful of years, it's not going to be this thing that you can do kind of part-time and have the kind of success that you're having. It's a job. You show up every day, you go to work, you do the right activities, you learn the skill set from the mentors that you reference, engaging in the training elements. I love the fact that you went to Bold. That's awesome. And I love how you graduated from Ignite, because there is such a difference in the way people show up and participate in that training. For those that aren't familiar with Ignite, Keller Williams training program for agents that aren't producing, at a minimal level, our training to get you started is called Ignite. And people show up differently for that, for sure. They either really participate and engage in the live sessions and practice, or they kind of halfway show up, and it makes a difference. And so, that's one of the things that I was very impressed with you. And as I spoke with leadership in your office, they just said that you really show up and plug in and engage. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Bold. Bold, for those that are new to the call or not familiar with Bold, Bold is a 7-week training series. We fly in a professional coach for 7 consecutive weeks for a full day. And it's pretty intensive training that our agents can opt into. And sometimes it resonates with people right off the bat, and sometimes they're not ready for it. It's a little bit overwhelming. And share with me a little bit about your experiences in Bold.
Well, I did Bold twice. So the first time I did Bold was right after Ignite. So it was month 2 into my career. So, I was brand new agent with really heavy hitters. So I kind of was well, when you do your goals, well, how many listings are you going to get this week? I'm none, no, nothing. So the first Bold, I didn't really like it, but then throughout my career, I'll reference back to the Bold affirmations, no pressure, no diamonds, or I'll hit a roadblock and then I'll think back to Bold and they were right. Bold was right. So I took it for a second time in the spring, and I just really loved it. It's just such a great mindset. Real estate, I think the key to real estate is hard work and your mindset. If your mindset's not right, it's an uphill battle. So I really enjoy Bold for the mindset part.
Yeah, awesome. Did that have a dramatic impact, do you feel on your success? And I love the fact that you're willing to share that you didn't love it the first time. Because quite frankly, many of us don't like it the first time or the second time. And sometimes, doing the things that are good for us aren't always fun. And then other times, we do it, and all of a sudden it resonates differently with us because we're at a different point, in our life or our career. So I appreciate you sharing that with me, but do you think that it's had an impact on your business?
Oh, it definitely has. I think it's on day 3 or day 2 where it's the affirmation lesson. And, some people will stand up and say their affirmation. And last spring, my affirmation for 2016 was to become Rookie of the Year. And I did.
That's awesome. So would you just is that something you just say every day, or when you say it's your affirmation, what was that?
Yeah. So, I am not as well practiced as I would like to be, but I read the Miracle Morning and I just kind of fell in love with the savers. So, I'll just say it throughout the day. Like if I'm having a bad day where I'm, not feeling as confident, or I feel like I suck, I'm like down here on the roller coaster, I'll just say my affirmations and just kind of give myself a little pick me up. And a lot of them have come true. So, and I know I'm not just willing myself to get these things. Like I'm definitely putting in the hard work, but I'm also just putting that extra icing on the cake, telling the universe, hey, this is what I want, and this is when I want it to show up.
I love it. So at one point, I know in a conversation that you and I had that you were, and this was probably early, I think last year, you were exploring joining a team. And I think a lot of new agents, have to think through that at some point. Do I join a team? Do I do my own thing? Share with us some of the thought process that you went through and what your perceived pros and cons of, doing your own thing versus joining a team.
Well, brand new, I'm usually pretty good at everything I do. Like if I put in the hard work, I'll see the results. And in real estate, you can put in lots and lots of hard work, and 6 months later, the results show up. And unfortunately, I'm not very patient. So I had quit my job after 3 deals, and then I didn't close anything for 4 whole months. And
that gets a little scary.
Yeah, I was definitely running out of money. And, when you get in those bad mindsets and listen to your drunk monkey, you can tell yourself anything. So I backed myself into this corner where I couldn't do real estate on my own. Like I wasn't capable of doing it. And so
you started to tell yourself that,
100%. Yeah. I was like, nope, you can't do this on your own, Rosie. You suck. Like you have to be on a team. So I explored being on a team. And, one of the reasons I got into real estate was so I could be my own boss. And so I could create my own future and, have time off, all this extra free time. And randomly, 2 cash deals fell into my lap. And I really didn't want to share them. Like, you know what I mean? I thought
you were like, I'd have to split this with the team if I was on the team.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I know I probably sound like a brat, but like these 2 random deals fell into my lap, and I'm like, you know what? Like I can do this. And then, after those 2 deals, everything just started taking off. And, I think Ignite does such a good job of preparing you for real estate, but I don't think they stressed how hard it was going to be, like mentally and financially. So once I got a couple deals under my belt, I'm like, I can do this. Like I can do this on my own and I can be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Good for you. That's really exciting. And there's not necessarily a wrong or right? In many cases, joining a team can be a really good solution for people. And a lot of times the questions you have to ask yourself is kind of, what's my vision for my business? And do I want to really, control the brand and all those things? Because I know you have a great, really cute brand that you've focused and built out, right? So is that piece important to me, or do I really want to focus my effort on some specific things and let other people handle a lot of that other stuff? So there's lots of pros and cons, but I think, it's something that a lot of new agents start to think through and have to navigate earlier in their business. In many cases, it's driven out of fear, I think, which is not the right reason to join a team, right? It's
fear 110%. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's not the right reason to join a team. If it's fear and scarcity kind of mindset that's driving you to join a team, that's not the right reason. because
well,
you
should
can do
make
it.
decisions in that mindset anyways.
That's right. Yeah, very cool. So as you have kind of settled into your career now at this point, what are some of your big challenges that you face? Like what is your obstacles this year that you feel are like the next dominoes in your development of your career?
Well, I definitely think my mindset is probably still one of my big challenges. I know everybody thinks I'm really confident, but like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's like at the beginning of the year, I was telling myself that I was one hit wonder. And I was really scared for year 2 because I'm like, what if I don't sell anything and I'm going to suck? So I just think, like the pressure is definitely on now, more so than last year. So just, showing up for myself and like achieving the goals I want to achieve, and just like learning how to be busy. Like I have 5 under contract right now, and I wish I was really organized and I had all these beautiful systems. That's another reason I wanted to join a team. I'm like, well, they have it all figured out for you. Like you just give it to them and they figure it out, right? So just like honing in my systems and, not letting things slide through the cracks because I am busy. So just like learning how to be busy and then balancing that work-life ratio, because right now I don't really have that many boundaries. It's like 9 o'clock at night and I'm answering phone calls.
Right. I mean, that's the challenge in real estate is you can, if you're not careful, turn this into an 80-hour per week type of job. And that's not the goal, right?
No.
And it's certainly not a balanced life. It's certainly not a life worth living. So it's interesting you say that there's a lot of pressure this year. And, as I think about that, the only pressure is self-imposed pressure, right?
Yep.
Yeah. because we do have those mind conversations that we get in our own head. And really the path is to figure out how to move away from being busy, because it's very easy for us to just keep ourselves busy and run and run. And how do you transition from that to being very purposeful in your day-to-day activities so that you are, keeping a good life work balance? And that's really, as you move from 1 year to 2 year to 3 years in the business, and generate that success, that's got to be the focus, is how do I bring structure to my business and treat it like a business so that I'm not just simply keeping myself busy, but being very intentional and purposeful in developing my business so that it's, generating the results I want within the time frame I want. Otherwise, there's probably many, many scenarios. You're not the only one to feel that pressure of a second great year. And by the way, we don't give out an award for having the worst second year following Rookie of the Year. So no pressure from that standpoint, right? No one knows. But the opportunity for you to create that kind of business and then add structure to it is just such a huge opportunity. So congratulations. And what's interesting is you're exactly right. It's mindset still. And when you have a career that's, generating 20 million in volume, guess what it is? It's still mindset, right?
Okay.
But now
so
it's just forever. Anytime that you're going to be breaking through that next glass ceiling, because we're always going to be coming up onto some level of achievement that we feel natural and good in. And like, I did this, but how do I break through that next piece? Well, it always starts with this, right? So modifying or working on that mindset piece. And then exactly as you did in your first year of business, engaging in with a mentor and the right training and education to help you learn the skill set and the structure to do a bigger business. It's just the next step. So you've learned the model. Now you just need to find the mentors and the training pieces that you plug back in to go from $3.7 million in volume to 6 or 7 or whatever your goals are for this coming year. So awesome. Well, great points. A lot of great insights. So tell us, if you don't mind, share with us, what are you doing now and what have you done in the past, but what are you doing intentionally that you've learned on generating your leads? What aspects of the business have you focused on? There's a million different ways to generate leads. Where have you kind of found your sweet spot? When we talked earlier, you said You're not a cold caller, which I totally get. And that's not the only way. It's a great way to generate business. It's not the only way to generate business. How are you finding success in generating, consistent lead business?
Well, I really enjoy the open houses. The open houses have been huge for me. Like I said, I don't like to cold call. If someone comes in an open house, I can strike up a conversation. I'm definitely better on following up on that conversation. Last year, I kind of, like, oh, cool, they want to buy a house. And then I didn't really do anything with it. So the open houses have been big. And then I hired somebody to do my social media and marketing. So I have a more online social media presence. I post twice a day. And I just, I really want to work with people like me. So I'm hoping to get a lot of return business from my SOI and my past clients. So that's my goal this year.
Awesome. So do you have a specific goal attached with your open house strategy? Are you doing one a week, one a month, multiples a week?
At least one a week. So okay. depending on the weekend, because like I'm newer and I don't have listings to hold open every weekend. So, and I want to be really strategic on where I hold my listings open. I want to, stay in the Sugar House downtown area. So sometimes it's hard to find homes that I can hold open, but yeah, 1 to twice a week for 3 hours. So 3 to 6 hours a week.
3 to 6 hours a week, once to twice a week. You're targeting a specific geographical area because that's where you want to be known as Rosie the Realtor in that Sugar House area, right?
Yeah, I grew up here, and like I know awesome. Downtown and Sugar House like the back of my hand, but like Draper or Harriman or like I just don't know that neighborhood and I don't know the market as well, so I feel more comfortable, in my little bubble.
I think that's really smart. I mean, as many people know, I teach an open house class. I'm very keen on that strategy. I think it's very smart. And, one of the mistakes I see people make a lot is that they're all over the place. And the idea here is to really create brand awareness and generate this presence in a community where they see your brand and your sign over and over and over again. And if you're doing, 3 to 6 hours of open houses, 2 open houses a week, consistently in those same neighborhoods, the perception is going to be, wow, this person owns this market. And you'll just start having business show up in a pretty serious way. What are some of the other things that you're doing with the open house? Are you just simply, putting out a couple signs and hanging out, or is there other prospecting associated with your open house strategy?
I definitely do follow-up calls. And like if they are like they live in the neighborhood and I can look up their address, I'll send them a thank you note. And then at the beginning of the year, I did I did a buyer's workshop, and so we had like 5 buyers there, different groups of buyers, and we've closed 2 of them just nice. From that workshop. So I want to keep doing that. Yeah. So you know what I mean?
So add workshops as a strategy.
Yeah. So at the open house, it's easy to advertise for the workshop. And then that's another piece to call people. And then, I was surprised at how many people showed up.
I like that idea a lot. So as people come into your open house, you're advertising a workshop event, a home buying workshop event, like how to, basically. Oh, that's cool. So then you have, what I call on my team is a MOFR, a make offer. You're offering something of value. So you have that excuse to then follow up and call and have an easy conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. That's really smart. And so far you've had a couple of transactions out of that. I think that's a really good strategy. So do you couple that then with the social media piece? So it sounds like you're focused on a social media strategy with posting. Tell us a little bit about that. Like this person that's helping you post, what are you posting? Is there a personal element to those posts that you're making? What's the strategy around utilizing social media?
So I'm trying to like give as much as possible and not just like, I'm Rosie the realtor, use me. You know, I definitely want to do more 80% giving, 20% asking for business. So I like to go on adventures, like weird adventures, like ghost towns. So I like to find like these weird places in Utah where like there's cool cemeteries or like weird random bones laying around. So, you know, I definitely want to be that, you know, source of knowledge where like, well, what should I do this weekend? I want to go on a cool adventure. I just don't want to do living room. Like I want to go on a cool hike. Like I want them to be able to like reach out to me or like look through my feed and be like, okay, well, like there's these cool hot springs off of Highway 6 that Rosie went to. Like, let's check that out. So I definitely want to like make it seem like I'm the expert on Utah and Salt Lake. You know, not just like the cookie canned, like, oh, go to Cheesecake Factory. It's like, no, go to Taco Taco on Tuesday and get great street tacos.
Yeah, awesome. So utilizing a social media strategy where you're staying in front, I mean, essentially in many cases, are you using Facebook or Instagram or both, or is there another platform?
Both. Yeah, I do Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. And so, you know, creating a platform or utilizing that platform to stay top of mind. And in many cases, you know, we're seeing some really, really successful businesses from real estate agents that are utilizing Facebook essentially as their database and, you know, staying top of mind with their people and your balance is exactly right. Probably about 80% of personal and interesting posts and then 20% that are real estate related so that people remember, oh yeah, Rosie is my real estate agent.
Yeah. And awesome. I also send out 2 mailers a month, 2 postcards a month, and then a monthly newsletter.
To your sphere of influence.
Yeah, SY, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Great. Well, let's kind of, as we wrap up, what advice would you give to, you know, anyone thinking about getting a license or, you know, a newer agent that is not having the success that they want? What are kind of some of your parting words of advice?
Use the resources that KW gives you. I don't know what it is like at other offices, but I'm sure it's the same. Like, what's so nice about our office is like we have such heavy hitters and we have an open door policy. Like if I have a question for Josh Stern or Lee, I'm like, hey, do you have 15 minutes for me? And they're like, yeah, come in, Rosie. And it's just like, use those resources. Like there's people in your office that have been in your spot and, you know, they're still in the business. So obviously they did something right. So like, don't be afraid to ask questions, show up, do the training. Just, I don't know, give it your 110%. Because if you do, you will see the results. I feel like real estate's a lot like dieting. So like, you want to lose weight, you need to like eat right and exercise. But if you're just exercising and then eating Crown Burger every night, you're not going to see the results. So, you know, it's definitely 2-pronged process.
So what are the 2 prongs in real estate?
Mindset and hard work and asking questions.
Awesome.
3 prongs.
3 prongs. I like it. Okay. Awesome. No, that's, I think you're spot on. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's just such a pleasure to be in business with you. So grateful to be in business with such talented, good people. So it's just awesome to hang out with you and appreciate your smile and awesome. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today on our first. Rosie was an awesome guest. Rosie, thank you so much for our first live cast event with the Real Insights Live. Again, we're going to be doing our next event in about 2 weeks, April 27th at noon. Where we will actually have a small panel of top real estate agents that know the market at a very deep level. And we'll be going through my slides that I share with the offices about the current real estate trends here in Utah. And we'll just talk about specifically Salt Lake County and Utah County and really all that is affecting our current real estate market. As you know, the more you are in tune with the market conditions, market trends, and communicate that in an effective way, the more perceived value you bring to your clients. And so it's really important that you understand the market and communicate that in a really effective way. Again, to keep track of when we're going to be doing these events, please make sure that you like our Facebook page, facebook.com/KW Utah. And again, love to connect with you personally on Facebook. You can reach me at facebook.com, Matt Green, Utah. You guys, thanks so much for being on today. Have a awesome day. Thanks, Rosie.